Hello everyone, Gerone Wright here again, and you're with me on my YouTube Geronification channel. Um, in this video, I'm going to be discussing saints and saints depicted in Renaissance artwork with the slaying of the dragon. Now, we all know that, or I hope that we should all know that. There was not a time where mankind was supposed to physically exist with these creatures, with these dragons, or with dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures of that nature. Um, However, there's a lot of myth and depictions that support these myths um, in circulation through Renaissance art and art before that and art globally, in China and in Egypt and Africa, well, globally pretty much. And kind of makes you wonder what's going on, especially when you see it in biblical art, historical art, and you kind of wonder what's going on. And dealing with a lot of saints, I found in biblical art that they have a saint slaying that of a dragon. And if you look at this image, people, the image makes absolutely no sense at all, because what would you have a in all sense a saint, which is referencing that um, of religion? Why would you have that saint slaying a dragon? Are you? I guess you would look at it in a sense. Oh, he's slaying a demon, or I mean, but it absolutely just doesn't make no sense from a logical and moral standpoint. I don't care how you want to add it up or look at it. However, there is a logical explanation that is not known to the masses of people of what is the underlying message behind this image. But it is privy to a select few. And to that select few, this image makes much sense. To me, this image makes sense. Okay? This image is referencing genetic bridging. Okay? And as cartoonish as it looks, as everything that you want to try to get from this image from a religious standpoint, I can bring you into a whole different understanding that is far more greater in value and understanding than what you're here or what you want to believe through the religious standpoint behind all of this. Let's remove the dragon. Let's remove the dragon from the image. Okay? What is being shown here is that you have St. George on a horse. I don't care if you want to call her a damsel in distress or whatever, but there's always a female companion, I guess, that St. George or whoever is supposed to be saving this this damsel in distress from, or whatever, how you want to. You have to say, first of all, what is a woman even doing in the image if you have a saint doing battle with this demon? So why is a woman even has to be there? So you have to ask yourself all of these questions now that I'm questioning this entire image, and there's others I'm going to bring into play as well too. But let me move on, because I mean, I just want to raise all of these questions in your head there to show you the reality and the message that I'm bringing you. Let's remove the dragon. Let's take the dragon and put the dragon genetically, the reptilian bloodline of this dragon, into St. George. Okay, now St. George is on his horse, showing you that he is slaying the dragon, which we actually took out. St. George, the message behind this image is what St. George is telling you, that he is genetically bridged over the horse. or through the horse to slay the dragon, the reptilian bloodline, the reptilian genetics that were anciently instilled in him in the earlier on creation of that of mankind. And that's what this image is signifying, that he had genetically overcame an ancient genetic. Thereby he's showing you outwardly that he slayed this creature inwardly that was genetically in him. I'm going to leave you, let you digest that for a minute, and I'm going to move on to other images. I'm going to show you how the woman actually plays a factor in this as well now too. This is St. George slaying of the dragon by Raffaello. I may have to back up here some. Let me let this image come down. And basically, now that I'm showing you these encryptions and the true meaning and understanding behind this image, you can Google these images. Some are more telltale than the others. If you want to actually, now that I'm putting you on the trail of this, pretty much all you have to do is go back to the earliest of the St. George's paintings, which has less of an encryption style to it, and you will be able to see and identify in everything that I'm telling you. Oh, and most of the images, what you would see when you actually Google the image, is you will see the tail of this serpent wrapped around the leg of the horse, meaning signifying the genetic bridging that I was telling you about. Okay, showing you that there was a genetic bridging that caused for the destruction of these genetics, and it was caused through the genetic bridging over the horse. And it's showing you most of the images in Renaissance art that depict St. George slaying that of the dragon. You will notice that either there's some kind of contact with the horse over the dragon, or the contact of the wing with the horse, or the tail of the dragon, which is wrapped around the horse, or there's another encryption style later on where the tail of the dragon is actually shown missing. But you have to look at that, and I'll show you some other encryption styles as well too. Now, here, this is by Raffaello. Okay, this is another encryption style. Okay, you look at this image and notice that the positioning of the horse, how the horse is. If you go back over here, the woman is up in the air, like reared up, almost like the horse is, in a position with her arms outstretched. Now there's other transparent images back here where you actually see the horse, okay, signifying this genetic bridging, and then you'll see an image and likeness of that of the dragon, which is encrypted in her skirt, which is blown out, and it has this showing you that there was a genetic bridging and where these genetics actually were going and how they were slayed and removed. Okay, and this is why this image is out like this. Now this is by Raffaello. When you go Google and look at the creature that I actually highlighted for you, that is in her dress. Now look at how her body is forward, leaning forward. Okay, it is showing you the removal, people, of ancient genetics from which we actually evolved, and it shows you how there was an ancient knowledge of how these genetics could be bridged and could be subsequently extracted, which actually calls for other likenesses and genetics of that of mankind. Now, I'm going to bring you another image up. This is of Saint Demetrius. Saint Demetrius. I'll put this one up in the way. Here, you have Saint Demetrius, again, on a horse, reptilian-like horse. Even Saint Demetrius is clad in reptilian-like attire. Okay, look at this horse. Okay, now he's shown slaying a king on a horse. Okay, down here on a white horse. As you can see there, this is Saint Demetrius. He's showing a divine figure putting two fingers out of seemingly the clouds, and I know what all of this entire image means, but I just want to show you some highlights. I'm going to show you some encryptions. When you Google this image in the mane of the horse, you will see a likeness, a transparent image likeness of that of a man. This guy, this black looking king down here with his beard, you will see his mouth open, and you will see the saddle of the horse actually going into the mouth, showing you that the genetics from here were given here, and it's indicated just by the arrow, the piercing of the arrow. On the other side of that man is the the likeness of that of our ape ancestor, right here, all in the mane of the horse. Okay, it shows you a genetic bridging that was overcame. Now, when you go down here to Saint George, I can read the entire image. I'm just trying to give some and leave some, and just give you a sense of where I'm going with this. Okay, look at the body of Saint George when you Google this image. And in Saint George's body, I highlighted this now, people. So over here, let me come in from this side. There's an image right here in his leg hindquarter. In his, I guess his leg right there. Which, like woman, there's the eye, there's the nose, there's the mouth, and it shows her hair, like whom I dub as the mother of creation, almost equivalent to that of what they have in Madonna today, and these other women figures that are actually held in high regard in religious groups. Okay, and there's our image of the ape there. There's the forehead of the ape. There's the ape's eyes, which I highlighted. There's the ape's snout. There's his mouth, and even gave him a little bit of hair there, which is actually incorporated in the image. And then it shows these genetics. There's another face here, trailing off, which actually calls for the likenesses of this guy here, this king being slain, and it's showing you what genetics were slain, what were discontinued, what was bridged over, and which caused for other genetics to be created. It shows you a genetic overcoming. Now, I'm going to stop there for a minute, because it's my position that each and every saint in history, I can do the same exact thing with. And you have these saints being depicted with animals, such as horses, such as lions, such as dragons, and it shows you how they allow themselves to be genetically sacrificed, to be bridged, to overcome ancient genetics, to create a new manipulated genetic that would cause for later alterings of the following likenesses of mankind. And the physical, the genetic, all of it. And this is how we evolved from the state of that of our ape ancestor, and likenesses of that of the later black man, our African man, and how you have these different evolutionary phases and genetics of mankind. And there was a precise thing that happened with us, and it's systematic, and it is something that's been going on from the beginning of time, and it's been hidden from the most of us, but this information is privileged to a select few. Now, I want to show you something else here with this slaying of the dragon. I had just did this image by Killing Dragons by Kolar after Stratimus, and this is on my 1640 painting, and I did a video on this. But again, people, if we did not exist with dragons, why are they showing these guys, these cave-like men, slaying these dragons? and it shows you. I mean, just like with the Peruvian stones. I was saying Peruvian. They're Peruvian stones. It shows you where these genetics going. Look at this witch-like woman, and you can Google this image. This is Killing Dragons by Collard after Stratimus 1640. You can Google the image. Look right here in the chest cavity of this man, and you see this witch-like woman, this Medusa-like woman with this snaky-like object coming off of her neck and coming up here, and it shows you the likeness of an ape right there, and then it shows you the likeness of man. People, and then over here the same thing in the cavity, and I had the video out on this. I'm just revealing this now, okay? But look at this, people. And then over here the same thing. It shows these transparent images. There's the actual man with the axe lifted up. But look at in his arm how there's an encryption of an ape there. And then over here the same woman with that snake coming off, showing you how these genetics are being bridged over. The same exact thing. Now here's something else that I want to show you. And in the Peruvian stone, these axes are not this land of, you know what they're showing you? Splicing of genetics. And that's what this is all about. Now, notice this, people, how this guy has his two fingers out. Look at the hand position. Look at how it creates almost like a face. But look at the two fingers sticking out. People, the same thing is here. Right there. And is it in this other image here? I have another image with the same exact. Okay, yes, I have it here. And the same thing is there. I know what these representations mean. And you will see them in a lot of ancient biblical Renaissance art. And I know exactly what it all means. Of course, I'm not going to spill all my discoveries here in one video, so people, it's like almost like watching your story. Oh, by the way, in this image as well too, as I showed you that there was an ape in the elbow area over here, encrypted right there in the raised arm of this man, and there's his actual head there. There's an ape, and there's a witch woman, and he's in between. It shows you that these two likenesses calls for this likeness. However, the same thing is here in this man's arm right here. There's the ape's eye, there's the ape's nostril, and that blackened arm shows you an evolutionary time of that of the ape, the black man, and how these genetic bridgings were actually caused for. And that's the message behind these artworks. Okay, it's a holy grail that's hidden in these artworks, and this is the reason why you can see the face of that of the ape, this man, and then you'll see other likenesses. If you look close, you'll see a woman. There's her chin, there's her mouth, there's her nose, and there's her eye, and then there's another. They're multi-dimensional images that are transparently, like almost like mirrored into this image, okay? And you would not even know that they're there. These likenesses that are down here, people, are shown here. You know why? Because they're shown that they were bridged over and then now carried by this guy. And that's what the stabbing of this spear is actually is. It's a genetic battle that is going on and is being recorded. Now, I'm going to show you something else here. This is Saint Irenaeus. I'm going to show you another encryption style about these saints. And by the way, people, like I said, these saints are symbolizing that they genetically sacrificed themselves, and that's why they're being honored. This is Saint Irenaeus. He was born 130 and he died 202. 130 and he died 202. Okay, and again, you can Google this image. Now, I'm gonna show you this in a smaller resolution, because sometimes people, these images can only be realized in a certain resolution. Okay, meaning that if you call yourself zooming right in on it and going too close, you miss the overall image. However, If I show it to you at a distance, you can actually see it. So that's why this image is this small, but I'm going to go to you up in a larger likeness. If I showed it to you in a larger likeness first, you would totally miss it. Okay. Another encryption style of these Renaissance artists is that they utilize the hair to show you that this likeness evolved from that of our ancient ancestor, which was that of a hairy creature. And it's showing you how his face emerged from the likenesses of these other faces, which are encrypted in his hair, which is around him. Okay? So, if you close this all up, made this all hair, you would actually see the faces of the creatures. It shows, and the faces of the creatures, I should say the multiple faces of the creatures that actually calls for his existence, and it shows you again genetic bridging. I'll start over here with the likeness that you are familiar with. Look right here in his hair, the face of an ape. I'm at the ape's mouth, the ape's bottom chin. There's the ape's nose, and there's the ape's eye. Now, when you Google this image, there's also a witch-like woman, the high devil is the mother of creation, which I can very clearly see. She's here on top of the ape's head, coming from snaking out of the ape's forehead like that of a serpent. So she's here. Now, let's go over here to this side. This is the eye and also the mouth of that same witch-like woman that is over here. I dub as the mother of creation. Her eyes is here. I'm going to show you in a minute. And when you Google the image, you can actually go to it. But she is here. On this side, she is with the ape. On this side, she is with a horse. Her mouth, wide open mouth, creates the eye socket of that of a horse. I'm coming over the bridge of the nose of the horse, and now I'm coming down to the horse's mouth area, which is all created in his hair. And this showing you people that how his later, like his genes at this moment, this is what shows where he was genetically bridged, and it tells me a genetic altering of him genetically, and I can explain how this genetic bridging actually took place. And this is why it shows that he's in the middle of this, because he was genetically bridged through this likeness, this creature, this horse, and this ape likeness, which is a representation of that of black man and Africans. It shows you a genetic bridging, and I know what it means. And this is why he has this halo over his head, which signifies a genetic bridging. And that's what the halo stands for. It's not about no saint and divinity and all of that. It's showing you a bridging from one side to the next. Okay? Now, this is what it looks like close up. Now, and I can keep doing this to people, by the way, with these things. Remember I told you there was a witch-like woman? Here's the ape. This will be the open mouth of the ape. This will be the ape's teeth-like. Here's the ape's bottom chin area. Here's the ape top lip area coming around. Right here where the ape's eye is, right there. And then in the ape's forehead, there's the chin of a woman. There's her mouth line. Coming up, there's her nose. There's an eye socket. There's an eye socket. And it shows you the mother of creation and the ape likeness. If you want to know more about those two, I have videos that have them signified in all of them. All through Renaissance art, this is a symbolic message that is actually being made, especially with that of Leonardo da Vinci being the most famous, and with Michelangelo, and with Rembrandt, and with many others. Okay, over here, the horse. It's not realized in its blown up state. However, the woman is. Eye socket, that'd be her right eye socket, her left eye socket, there's her mouth, okay, and it shows you how, and this will be also the eye socket of the horse, which is dubbed as her mouth, and it actually shows you these genetics being bridged. And I can read this entire image for you, and I can tell you about Saint about who is the saint again? Oh, Saint Irenaeus. Let me see if I can spell that out for you so you can actually see. Irenaeus, Irunaeus. Anyway, he was born 130 and he died in 202. Okay, now but you can see the head of the horse there laid to the side as I pull away in a smaller state. Okay, and I can tell you this guy's cause through his sainthood and why he's being commemorated as a saint. Now you can take all of his pictures now and tie it to these creatures that I have just now shown you here. This is in its rawest form. You get another artist to say the same message, but in a different way, but still include these creatures, because it is very important that his genetic contribution to bridging himself be recorded, and recorded accurately. So therefore, it is this symbolic cult-like message that these artists, when they create their artists of this man, their artworks of this man, they'll have these creatures encrypted. So if you see it in one, they're in all. Okay. Who else is there? Do I have here? This is another saint. So let me put this up here. Oh, okay. I have another saint over here. I'm gonna bring up Saint Agnes. Now Saint Agnes, I'm upset because I was running out of ink, and when I ran out of ink, and plus it ran off the page. Okay, but Saint Agnes too is the same exact thing. He was the other one. If you Google this image of Saint Agnes, you will see that Saint Agnes is in a pit, in a snake-like pit, and he's standing on top of a serpent. Okay, Saint Agnes of Keld. Saint Agnes of Keld. That's what this is actually called. And you spell Keld, K-E-L-D. So if you Google Saint Agnes of Keld, you will see that this is like a pit filled with water, and he's naked, and he's standing on a snake with a red head, and you will see the two fingers coming out from this side here, and the two fingers are just like identical to what is here. Okay, identical. Okay, with Saint Demetrius, and I believe that they come out on, I don't know if on this side or whatever, because I'm backwards here. Okay, again, I know what that means. What's that symbolic of? But he's standing on a serpent down here, people. He's naked. Okay, and then shows this white scroll coming off of his private area and coming off like this here. People, this entire image, I already know what it means, but it tells me that he genetically bridged over the creature from which he stands, and now his semen, his genetic line, has been changed and been altered, and this is what he is actually spreading, a new genetic. And this is why this scroll is showing coming off of his private area, or penis area. That's what this image is telling you. Genetic altering, a genetic change. He sacrificed himself genetically, and as a result, he's creating a new genetic line. And that's what that's being said. And that's why you have this saint butt naked, shown painted butt naked in this pool, because it shows you that through this cocktail there's reptilian presence, and there's another. This is all symbolic of everything, because this is ocean water back here. This is a symbolic message of what's going on, and I'm gonna show you something else with what Leonardo da Vinci did. However, here's another saint, and this is Saint Paul Orion, or Aurelian, or whatever. Same message. He's standing over a dragon. And in this one, the dragon is down. You can't see it because, again, the image was too large, people, so I couldn't. The dragon's tail is missing, and it shows a knife-like, like the head of a spear-like object shoved into the dragon's tail, showing you a genetic splicing of the altering of the tail of the dragon, causing for the dragon to go in dormant state, in submission. Now, not in the actual sense, because we all know that a dragon did not exist in the time of St. Paul Aurelian or Aurelian, whatever his name is there. But genetically, this creature, this reptilian presence, was defeated through the body of Paul Aurelian in reality, because he was genetically bridged, and his genetic bridge calls for the later alterings of these genetics, which calls for this creature's presence, genetic presence, and his body to be defeated and laid dormant. And this is what this is all about. Our reptilian ancestors, how they were genetically defeated. Okay? Now, in case you were wondering how were these ancient reptilian genetics got into us, you should look at my video with Angkor Wat, my discoveries with Angkor Wat, where it shows how we were genetically bridged over tortoises or turtles and other reptilian creatures, and how it's actually being referenced not only there. I have a video out on my discoveries with the Grand Canyon that shows how we were genetically bridged with there's information there that's newly discovered that shows how we were genetically bridged with reptiles, and also in Egypt, and it's actually global, even in China or whatever, because what we were led to believe to be mythical moments in place and time were actually factual. And even with the Peruvian stones, the Peruvians are mentioning on the stones, which are in the shapes of eggs, symbolic of that of the egg, stating that the dinosaur was our creator. And these Peruvian burial stones are a representation of eggs, saying, hey, look, everybody that finds these, you see these stones? They are in the shapes of eggs. We put them in the shapes of eggs and drew on them to let you know that we hatched from these eggs. You see what I'm saying? In other words, not hatched from them, but we are genetically attached to the ancient dinosaur. We are genetically linked to this creature. This is what this is stating. And this is why the Peruvian those stones are symbolic of being that of in the presence of an egg, and have the drawings on them. I have a video on that too that you have to see. All right, but now I'm doing saints. I'm gonna go to Saint Gerone now, because Saint Jerome is different. Here's a calendar painting of Saint Jerome. Let me take this down. Here's a calendar painting of Saint Jerome. So, what is Saint Jerome stating here? Well, Saint Jerome stating that he was bridged differently. He sacrificed himself genetically in a different sense. Saint Jerome is showing you that he was genetically altered through that of the genetics of the lion. So you're probably saying, Jerome, this is just a calendar. Get the hell out of here. Well, Saint Jerome is wearing the cloaked skin of the lion, the cap, the cap of a lion. This is all lion. And this is the message behind this, people. Now look. And again, here's the halo, and I'm telling you that he was bridged over. That's what the halo means. The halo doesn't mean divinity and all of that, which you are led to believe. I know that the halo means bridged over. Okay? Through my discoveries, I know that for a fact that that's what that means. Now, I know what angels mean, I know what aliens mean and all that, but I'm not going into that here in this video. Look at Saint Jerome here. You would think that he would be taking a thorn out of the paw of the lion. But the lion's paws, those pads on his paws are green, which represents that of our reptilian ancestor. And this is a pin rather than in other words, showing you that St. Paul is pricking this creature and taking genetics, creating a blood scenario, letting you know that there's a genetic link with these two beings. Now, look at the lion's face and look at this guy's face. He is telling you through his likeness, the cloth that he's wearing, me and the lion are one. Look. This is a symbolic message behind this. Now, okay, well, you probably said, well, Jerome, I just can't see it. Well, here's a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. And this is another painting of Saint Jerome. But this is by Leonardo da Vinci. A different artist, of course. And here, well, let me go down a little, Lord. Here, Leonardo da Vinci has the lion here. All you have to do is Google this image, and it's Da Vinci's Saint Jerome, or Da Vinci's painting of Saint Jerome. Here's the lion. The lion's tail comes around and is hooked around an encrypted message in stone. Here, there's an encrypted head of a serpent. I think I'm at the nostrils there. Now, this is a poor copy as well, too. I'm at the encrypted nostrils of the serpent, meaning the snake. There's a witch-like woman right in here, so when you Google the image, actually, you can look at these encryptions. And then, over here, these are the founding stones of mankind right here, which I know what they are. But more importantly, laying on the founding stones, there is a image. Not just any image, but a familiar image that is actually encrypted in a lot of Renaissance artists' artworks. And you know what that is, people? That is the head or the nose portion of a whale, showing you that there is a genetic bridging between all of the creatures and that of Saint Jerome, whom sacrificially sacrificed himself for the genetic alterings of that of mankind's genetics. Just as I am telling you that all saints, it is their duty to do. I don't care if they're female, male, transsexual, or bisexual. This is the case with these saints. And this is a process that has been going on throughout history. Now, you probably said, Jerome, I just can't see mankind's genetics being genetically manipulated with that of animals. Well, besides knowing how it was done, because I know specifically how it was done, I can tell you precisely, pretty much how much time that it actually took for it to be complete, the process to be complete, because all of these records, such occurrences, I like to say, would be on a mass scale. They show you the time limits and everything throughout. This is what the records of the Bible are about. This is what the records of these Renaissance artists' paintings are all about. It shows you the time, the occurrences, everything, people. What was the result, the ending results, which are not, ending results, but it shows you from one bridging state to the next. These paintings are a genetic grail to our physical and genetic altering, and it's all referenced by these people through these bizarre paintings that until I come along and tell you what they actually and truly mean, you had no sense of reality of realizing what they mean. Every Renaissance artist, their schools, and then all of the later stuff that comes today that are in commercials, that are in marketing. This artwork, it's in artists, it's in musicians' artworks. There's their album covers. People, there are mentionings of this stuff in everything. The success I told you of Disney and many others is based on their knowledge to this. And it's being relayed back to us in television, on the computer. This stuff is being hammered away in our minds, and I know why that is being done as well too. Now, here is the glorification of the iron horse. Now, I have a video on this as well too. And by the way, people, my videos are playing in Pakistan, and almost 80 of my videos, I have 115, almost 80 of them over there are playing in Pakistan. I have 5-star rating in Pakistan on 80 of my videos, 80 of my 115 videos. About 29 of them are unrated, and then the others have lower ratings, of course, but the higher number has the 5-star in ratings. So, I mean, my videos are playing global. Alright, I'm bringing this up. Besides all of that, I'm going to show you something. Google this image. Alright, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to bring you back to the line. This is where we're going to go back with this line. This Pope here, this Pope image, he has 3 faces right there showing. I just realized when I was pulling this image up that I didn't even realize, I don't know if we can see it like this here. But when you Google this image, even under his chin, I didn't even realize he has 3 faces, 3 levels in his faces right there. If you look at it, he has 3 faces. They can be split. There's 3 faces, multi-dimensional faces, just in itself. But then underneath his chin, I just seen that there's a reptilian image of that witch-like woman that I've been telling you about. That Madonna-like woman. She's right there underneath his chin. And then I don't think I can actually show you because this is actually too small. If you were to turn this image upside or to the sideways, let me see if I can see her, if I can get him. Oh gosh, I'm not going to get it there now. Hold on, where is she at? Alright, there she is there. But if you turn it upside down, you'll see her face again right there. And you'll see this dove flying to her mouth, which is at the head of the Pope, but his eye becomes her mouth, just like in so many of my other multi-dimensional findings. But it shows you, and I know what this means. But there's her likeness there. There's her eye, and her mouth open, and the mouth of the dove is at her mouth, and there's her nose. And this is what is created through the Pope's head being turned. This image being turned upside down. Now, besides that, here's another image too, which represents our earliest of ancestry that you know nothing about, where this mouth is created. There's eyes, and you see how these tears are being created. I have a video on this, and remember about the tears of Shiva and all of that, the 5 faces of Shiva and the Hindu god, where through his tears life was created. Well, people, this is on the floor of the glorification of the iron hearts if you turn it upside down. If you turn it this way, this is what you see. If you turn it this way, and what this is showing you here, I don't want to get sidetracked. I'm gonna get back. It shows you that how through our oceanic waters, that objects from space collided with our world, and it shows you the locations that these objects collided, and at which point, which I'm stating that this area right here is the Grand Canyon. It's the Grand Canyon, and I have other proof to back that up, not just this, because these images that you see here, there's an encrypted great white shark, and look, the cardinal over here, the cardinal's clothes, look at his red clothes, how it cleverly creates the snout of a pig. His hat creates the pig ear. There's a pig's face. All of these creatures. Down here is the face of a dinosaur. Right here is the head of a dinosaur. The behemoth is there. There's the sword shark right there. And here this Pope has a whale coming up on him through his clothing encrypted, and his arm comes around into the whale's mouth, showing you that he's genetically bred. You see this, people? Look, there's the what do you call that shark? The megalodon shark image right here. All of these stuff here shows you, but this is the reason why. Oh, shows you how objects from space landed in the Grand Canyon, i.e., a seed. Meteorite, I don't care what you want to call it, blue star, whatever you want to say it is, and to show you how life evolved through the waters of that area and other likenesses, and they have all of the creatures that was created through those mutations, through those organisms of that seed. Now, about the lion, about us being genetically bridged with the lion, as I was talking with you about with Saint Gerone before I got sidetracked. Here, when you Google the image, here in this lion's face, it looks discombobulated. You know why it looks discombobulated? Because this half of the lion's face, right there, come down this half of the lion's face and cut it off, and there's the face of a half man, half lion creature looking this way. So the lion's face is shared with the likeness of man. And if you look closely, there's a line right here. There's a line that separates the lion's face from that of the man's face, and it shows you how there was a genetic bridging. Now, this monk-like character, now check this out, people. Now check this out. There's a lion. Now check this out. The bench that the Pope, this Pope-like or monk-like person is sitting, is that of a pig. There's the head of a pig there. So it's showing you that this guy is sitting down and he's bridged over these creatures, because this bench is encrypted as a pig. It gets better than that, y'all. I'm gonna keep going because this is not what I'm gonna show you some more about that. I'm gonna put this up here. I'm going into 46 minutes here, and did I get everything? Here's some of the stuff that, with that image, the glorification of the iron. Look at that Pope's face. Remember I told you that he had three different faces just to be shown there? Here goes some of the things that can be realized. There's a megalodon shark. There's a reptilian mutation there. There's a snake-like object which creates the serpent, and it shows you the passage of these genetics. And there's much more, people, to be realized here. Did I have? No, I don't have that down there. But listen, my name is Gerone Wright, and I'm gonna let this video go because I'm going into almost 50 minutes here, and I don't even know if this would be allowed. My name is Gerone Wright, and the message behind my video here now is to show you how these saints and these representations of dragon slaying and these artists, there's an encrypted message that evolved from that time to this time, and what's being said, what's being boastfully said, is that these artists knew who you were, knew how you genetically became, who knew of this information, who genetically sacrificed themselves for the cause, which included Jesus too, by the way, and John the Baptist, and Mary Magdalene, and many others, you know what I mean? I don't care who you want to name out of the Bible, Paul and Peter and all of that stuff there. All of those mentionings, people, are the records of how they genetically sacrificed themselves to alter the genes of mankind, which originated from that of the ape, which is being shown encrypted here in the mane of the horse. And I can tell you how it was done, when it was done, which genetics was being altered at which time, by whom, and where they're at, and what is being done now. And this is being done at the Vatican, which I'm accusing of being the cross-referencing center for all of the genetics of mankind. And this is why you have that cocktail of different ethnic groups of people at the Vatican and all of this other stuff that is going on. There is new genetics being created while others are being destroyed and being manipulated. While being manipulated and being destroyed. So, if you don't believe that, look in the wake of where we evolved from. Look at Africa. Look at Hades. Look at the disease and famine of what is happening there, people. And you don't see no worldwide union or love for them, or you don't see kings and queens rushing over to save Africa or to help donate their millions and their science and technology to creating cures and stuff for Africa. You know why? Because they genetically bridge themselves over that place. It's an evolution of a change that they created in the first place. But it even gets better than that, because I can take you beyond that. I can take you beyond that, because there was other civilizations of people that was before these creatures, the ape. People, this is a systematic thing that's been going on, and it evolved from space, and it is instinctively in us to genetically bridge ourselves. And I mean, it's just so much that I can share and go on and go on and go on about that. It's amazing. And through my paranormal experience and encounter, I experienced it all. I can see it all, I can feel it all, I can sense it all. And as long as there are records like this, I can see this stuff, people, and I can bring it to you and bring reality from a painting that wouldn't otherwise make no sense at all to making sense. I mean, look at this guy. His mouth is open, in the horse mane encrypted on the back of an ape, and with the horse's saddle in his mouth, the ball point of it in his mouth, signifying a genetic bridging. And look, this guy is sitting on that genetic bridge between that and the horse, showing you the genetic bridging of everything everything that's being shown here about this genetic bridging is shown right here, verified in itself. All of these paintings are self-verifiable. Everything that I just told you is not just shown here, where he's being genetically bridged over, but it's shown encrypted right there, and it shows you what genetics were bridged over. Right there in the horse's mane. My name is Gerone Wright. You're watching my Geronification channel, and I don't care what it is, if it's referencing our genetic becoming, I am instinctively drawn to it through my paranormal experience and encounter. And I can bring and expose to you these such paintings, and those that know about it, those that support it, and those that are probably committing the most inhumane acts against mankind than you can possibly ever imagine. I'm on YouTube, Geronification. I'm also on Alien UFOs, or you can just simply Google my name, Gerone Wright. That's GeroneWright, and you will be able to get me and my different sites and locations with my informations. Okay. Eventually, I'm gonna go viral, or something big is gonna become of this, because people, I don't have no end. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, because the evidence is overwhelming, and as is my experience and in my encounter. It's not just this, people. It's beyond this. I can do this all through space. I can show you existences that we evolved from, and likenesses that are beyond this. Before there was this, there was that in space. People, my experience is genuine. What I'm telling you is genuine. I may not be offering it to you in the expert way of narration and from the best scientific standpoint, but my message is loud and clear, that I have made a discovery that puts a holy grail discovery to shame. This is beyond that, people. This is a discovery of a multi-dimensional existences, an evolution that where we came from, where reality is almost pretty much opposite of that of everything that has been taught to us or been led for us to believe. My name is Gerone Wright. I'm out. Thank you for watching, and as always, I appreciate if you share my videos. Thank you. Less of an encryption style to it, and you will be able to see and identify in everything that I'm telling you. Oh, and most of the images, what you would see when you actually Google the image, is you will see the tail of this serpent wrapped around the leg of the horse, meaning signifying the genetic bridging that I was telling you about. Okay, showing you that there was a genetic bridging that caused for the destruction of these genetics, and it was caused through the genetic bridging over the horse. And it's showing you most of the images in Renaissance art that depict St. George slaying that of the dragon. You will notice that either there's some kind of contact with the horse over the dragon, or the contact of the wing with the horse, or the tail of the dragon, which is wrapped around the horse, or There's another encryption style later on where the tail of the dragon is actually shown missing. But you have to look at that, and I'll show you some other encryption styles as well too. Now, here, this is by Raffaello. Okay, this is another encryption style. Okay, you look at this image and notice that the positioning of the horse, how the horse is. If you go back over here, the woman is up in the air, like reared up, almost like the horse is, in a position with her arms outstretched. Now there's other transparent images back here where you actually see the horse, okay, signifying this genetic bridging, and then you'll see an image and likeness of that of the dragon, which is encrypted in her skirt, which is blown out, and it has this showing you that there was a genetic bridging and where these genetics actually were going and how they were slayed and removed. Okay, and this is why this image is out like this. Now this is by Raffaello. When you go Google and look at the creature that I actually highlighted for you, that is in her dress. Now look at how her body is forward, leaning forward. Okay, it is showing you the removal, people, of ancient genetics from which we actually evolved, and it shows you how there was an ancient knowledge of how these genetics could be bridged and could be subsequently extracted, which actually calls for other likenesses and genetics of that of mankind. Now, I'm going to bring you another image up. This is of Saint Demetrius. Saint Demetrius. I'll put this one up in the way. Here, you have Saint Demetrius, again, on a horse, reptilian-like horse. Even Saint Demetrius is clad in reptilian-like attire. Okay, look at this horse. Okay, now he's shown slaying a king on a horse. Okay, down here on a white horse. As you can see there, this is Saint Demetrius. He's showing a divine figure putting two fingers out of seemingly the clouds, and I know what all of this entire image means, but I just want to show you some highlights. I'm going to show you some encryptions. When you Google this image in the mane of the horse, you will see a likeness, a transparent image likeness of that of a man. This guy, this black looking king down here. But it absolutely just doesn't make no sense from a logical and moral standpoint. I don't care how you want to add it up or look at it. However, there is a logical explanation that is not known to the masses of people of what is the underlying message behind this image. But it is privy to a select few. And to that select few, this image makes much sense. To me, this image makes sense. Okay? This image is referencing genetic bridging. Okay? And as cartoonish as it looks, as everything that you want to try to get from this image, from a religious standpoint, I can bring you into a whole different understanding that is far more greater in value and understanding than what you're here or what you want to believe through the religious standpoint behind all of this. Let's remove the dragon. Let's remove the dragon from the image. Okay? What is being shown here is that you have St. George on a horse. Here's, I don't care if you want to call her a damsel in distress or whatever, but there's always a female companion, I guess, that Saint George or whoever is supposed to be saving this this damsel in distress from, or whatever, how you want to. You have to say, first of all, what is a woman even doing in the image if you have a saint doing battle with this demon? So why is a woman even has to be there? So you have to ask yourself all of these questions now that I'm questioning this entire image, and there's others I'm going to bring into play as well too. But let me move on, because hello everyone, Gerone Wright here again, and you're with me on my YouTube Geronification channel. In this video, I'm going to be discussing saints and saints depicted in Renaissance artwork with the slaying of the dragon. Now, we all know that, or I hope that we should all know that, there was not a time where mankind was supposed to physically exist with these creatures, with these dragons, or with dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures of that nature. However, there's a lot of myth and depictions that support these myths in circulation through Renaissance art and art before that, and art globally, in China and in Egypt, Africa, well, globally pretty much. And kind of makes you wonder what's going on, especially when you see it in biblical art, historical art, and you kind of wonder what's going on. And dealing with a lot of saints, I found in biblical art that they have a saint slaying that of a dragon. And if you look at this image, people, the image makes absolutely no sense at all, because what would you have in all sense a saint, which is referencing that of religion? Why would you have that saint slaying a dragon? Are you I guess you would look at it in a sense, oh, he's slaying a demon. Or, I mean, I just want to raise all of these questions in your head there to show you the reality and the message that I'm bringing you. Let's remove the dragon. Let's take the dragon and put the dragon genetically, the reptilian bloodline of this dragon, into St. George. Okay, now St. George is on his horse, showing you that he is slaying the dragon, which we actually took out. St. George, the message behind this image is what St. George is telling you, that he is genetically bridged over the horse, or through the horse, to slay the dragon, the reptilian bloodline, the reptilian genetics that were anciently instilled in him in the earlier on creation of that of mankind. And that's what this image is signifying, that he had genetically overcame an ancient genetic. Thereby he's showing you outwardly that he slayed this creature inwardly that was genetically in him. I'm going to let you digest that for a minute, and I'm going to move on to other images. I'm going to show you how the woman actually plays a factor in this as well now too. This is St. George slaying of the dragon by Raffaello. I may have to back up here, son. Let me let this image come down. And basically, now that I'm showing you these encryptions and the true meaning and understanding behind this image, you can Google these images. Some are more telltale than the others. If you want to actually, now that I'm putting you on the trail of this, pretty much all you have to do is go back to the earliest of the St. George's paintings, which has